In the 1970s, Dallas was not just riding an oil boom. Energy prices quadrupled overnight, corporate headquarters rose into the sky, and $35,000 homes became middle-class dreams next door to $500,000 estates. But beneath the swagger, deep fault lines split the city's promise from its reality. How did Dallas become the epicenter of American ambition? And what did it cost? Oil money did not just fill pockets in Dallas, it changed the skyline. In 1973, the price of a barrel of oil jumped from $3 to $12 almost overnight. While much of America lined up for gas, Dallas executives signed million-dollar deals in boardrooms high above the city. Texas Instruments expanded its headquarters, drawing engineers and tech workers from across the country. LTV Corporation and Republic National Bank set up shop downtown, their names soon etched onto new towers. The city became a magnet for corporate headquarters, each one competing to build higher, flashier, and more ambitious than the last. Reunion Tower started to rise in 1974. A concrete column topped with a glowing sphere, it became Dallas's signature. Construction crews worked around the clock, earning union wages and watching the city transform beneath their boots. By the time Reunion Tower topped out in 1978, it stood as a symbol of Dallas's confidence. The city did not just want to grow, it wanted to announce itself to the world. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport opened its runways in January 1974, sprawling over 17,000 acres between Dallas and Fort Worth. It was the largest airport in the world at the time, a project so massive that engineers had to work through soil subsidence and political headaches to finish on schedule. The airport did not just connect Dallas to the rest of the country, it made the city a hub for global business. Flights arrived from New York, Los Angeles, even London, bringing a steady stream of deal-makers and dreamers. Developers like Trammell Crow saw opportunity everywhere. Crow's team poured millions into the Hyatt Regency complex, betting that visitors would want a front-row seat to the city's rise. Bankers approved loans for high-rises at a dizzying pace, and six-figure salaries flowed to oil executives, real estate agents, and lawyers. Downtown Dallas buzzed with ambition. At street level, the energy was contagious. Restaurants filled with suits at lunch, construction dust swirling as new towers climbed higher. This was a time when money did not just move through Dallas, it built monuments, reshaped neighborhoods, and gave the city a new identity. One steel beam at a time. North Dallas, in the 1970s, was a patchwork of new subdivisions, each one promising a slice of the good life. Families poured into places like Richardson, Plano, and Garland, drawn by the lure of fresh streets and affordable comfort. A typical ranch-style home, 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, brick on the outside and shag carpeting inside, could be yours for $35,000 to $55,000. The price tag put home ownership within reach for engineers, teachers, and young oil geologists eager to trade apartments for a backyard and a 2-car garage. Sunken living rooms, wood paneling, and earth-toned kitchens defined the era's domestic style. The hum of a central air conditioner was almost as common as the clack of rotary phones, or the static of a TV tuned to one of 3 available channels. Commuting shaped daily rhythms. The LBJ Freeway and Central Expressway cut broad ribbons through the city, making it possible to live miles from downtown and still reach an office tower by 8 o'clock. Mornings began with the steady crawl of Cadillacs, Lincoln Continentals, Oldsmobile 98s, and the occasional pickup, all inching toward the skyline. Dads in suits, moms in station wagons, kids in the back seat. Every family seemed to be part of the same migration. DFW Airport, newly opened in 1974, sat at the edge of the sprawl, its runways promising business trips and vacations that felt almost futuristic. In Preston Hollow, the story was written in square footage and status. Oil millionaires and bank presidents bought sprawling estates for $200,000 to $500,000, their driveways lined with Lincolns and their parties drawing Dallas's social royalty. But just a few miles south, the prosperity faded. South Dallas neighborhoods faced shuttered storefronts and underfunded schools, the wealth of the boom years passing them by. The contrast was sharp. New brick homes and green lawns in the suburbs, aging houses, and broken sidewalks where city investment had dried up. Even so, for many in Dallas, the 1970s meant comfort and optimism. Suburban lawns grew thick under the Texas sun, kids rode bikes until dinner, and the promise of a better life felt as real as the keys in your hand. The city's confidence started at home, in the routines of families who believed tomorrow would be bigger, brighter, and just a little bit closer to the American dream. Friday nights in Dallas belonged to football. Texas Stadium, with its iconic hole in the roof, held more than 65,000 fans who packed the stands to watch the Cowboys chase glory. The team's blue and silver uniforms became part of the city's identity, and by 1978, when Roger Staubach led Dallas to another Super Bowl victory, the phrase, "America's team," stuck for good. Tom Landry's stoic presence on the sideline, the flash of Bob Hayes sprinting downfield, and the spectacle of the Cowboys cheerleaders were the faces and rhythms of a city that saw itself as unstoppable. But the energy didn't fade when the final whistle blew. Downtown pulsed with a different kind of excitement. Deep Ellum's clubs throbbed with blues and jazz, drawing crowds late into the night. Musicians tuned up in smoky bars, their sets echoing the city's restless ambition. At the same time, the Neiman Marcus flagship on Main Street turned shopping into theater. Nowhere was the city's extravagance more obvious than at the annual Fortnight event. The 1976 Spain theme brought flamenco dancers and bullfighters straight from Europe. Shoppers and oil executives mingled under crystal chandeliers, their evenings capped with reservations at the French Room or the mansion on Turtle Creek. This was a time when Dallas felt like the center of the universe. The sound of a stadium crowd, the thump of a bass line in Deep Ellum, the clink of champagne glasses at a Neiman Marcus gala, each moment fed the sense that anything was possible. Confidence was everywhere, and the city wore it like a badge. In South Dallas, the promise of the 1970s never quite reached the corner stores or the crowded schoolyards. While office towers climbed upward and fortunes changed hands in glass-walled boardrooms, families here watched storefronts shutter and playgrounds crack under the Texas sun. The city's growth came with a cost, one measured in lost jobs, empty classrooms, and a sense that opportunity had a map, and South Dallas was left off it. When Judge Barefoot Sanders handed down the federal busing order in 1976, more than 10,000 students were reassigned across Dallas. The court's decision aimed to break decades of segregation, but it also tore neighborhoods apart. Long bus rides replaced the walk to a familiar school. Parents worried about safety, about their children's sense of belonging, about the cold reception waiting on the other side of town. Protests filled City Hall steps. On some mornings, police escorted buses through jeering crowds. In South Dallas, many felt their voices ignored, caught between a court order and a city's reluctance to invest in their schools. As the decade wore on, the numbers told their own story. In 1977, police reports showed burglary rates up by a quarter along the Central Expressway corridor, with violent crime rising too. Residents organized neighborhood watches, but the sense of security that came with a steady job or a safe school felt further away than ever. For every new high-rise in North Dallas, another family in South Dallas wondered if the city's ambition would ever include them. The divide was more than geography, it was the daily reality of who got to share in Dallas's dream and who was left looking in from the outside. Dallas's skyline still rises, but so do its divides. The foundations built in the 1970s power today's growth, and they echo in persistent inequalities across neighborhoods. What Dallas chooses to remember and what it decides to change will shape its future far beyond the shadow of Reunion Tower. Share your thoughts below.